Acts chapter 27,
Chapter 27.
22 to
22.
chapter 27,
Chapter 27.
44.
44.
Yet now I urge you
I urge you
to take heart,
to take heart,
for there will be
for there will be
no loss of life
no loss of life
among you,
among you,
but only of the ship.
but for
For this very night
this very night
there stood
they stood
before me
before me
an angel of the God,
an angel of the God,
to whom
to whom
I belong
I belong
and whom
and whom
I worship.
I worship.
And he said,
And he said,
Do not be afraid,
do not be afraid,
Paul.
Paul.
You must stand before Caesar.
You must stand before Caesar.
And behold,
And behold,
God has granted you
God has granted you
all those
all those
who sail with you.
who sail with you.
So take heart,
So take heart,
men,
men,
for I have faith in God,
for I have faith in God,
that it will be
that it will be
exactly as I have been told.
exactly as I have been told.
But we must run
But they must run
aground on
aground on
some Iceland.
some island.
When the 14th night
When the 14th night
had become,
had become,
as we were being
as we were being
driven across the
driven across the
Adriatic Sea,
Adriatic Sea,
about midnight,
about midnight,
the sailors suspected that
sailors suspected that
they were
they were
nearing land.
nearing land.
So they took a
So they came
sounding
sounding
and found
and found
20
20
fathoms.
fathoms,
A little further,
a little further,
and they took
and they took
a sounding again
a sounding again
and found
and found
15 fathoms.
15 fathoms.
And fearing that
And fearing that
we might run
you might run
on the rocks,
on the rocks,
they let down
they let down
4 anchors from the
4 anchors from the
stern
stern
and prayed for
and fled for
day to come.
day to come.
And as the sailors
And the sailors
were seeking to escape
were seeking to escape
from the ship
from the ship
and had
and had
lowered the ship's boat
lowered the ship's boat
into the sea
into the sea
under
under
pretense of laying out
pretense of letting off
anchors from the bow.
anchors from the bow.
Paul said to the centurion
Paul said to the centurion
and the soldiers,
and the soldiers,
Unless
unless
these men stay in the ship,
these men stay in the ship,
you cannot be saved.
you cannot be saved.
Then the soldiers cut away
When the soldiers cut away
the ropes of the ship's boat
the ropes of the ship's boat
and let it go.
and let it go.
As day was about to dawn,
As they were about to dawn,
Paul urged them
Paul urged them
all to take some food,
all to take some food,
saying,
saying,
Today is the 14th day
today is the 14th day
that you have continued in
that you have continued in
suspense
suspense
and without food,
and without food,
having taken nothing.
having taken nothing.
Therefore,
Therefore,
I urge you
I urge you
to take some food,
to take some food,
for it will give you strength.
for it will give you strength.
For not a hair
or not a hair
is to perish
is to perish
from the head of any of you.
from the head of any of you.
And when he had said these things,
And when he had said these things,
he took bread
he took bread
and giving thanks to God
and giving thanks to
in
God
the presence of all,
in the presence of all.
he broke it
He broke it
and began to eat.
and began to eat.
Then they all were
Then they all were
encouraged
encouraged
and ate some food themselves.
and ate some food themselves.
We were in
We were in
all
all
276 persons
276 persons
in the ship.
in the ship.
And when they had eaten enough,
And they when had eaten enough,
they lightened the ship,
they lightened the ship,
throwing out
throwing out
the wheat into the sea.
the wheat into the sea.
Now, when it was day,
Now when it was day,
they did not recognize the land,
they did not recognize the land,
but they noticed a bay
but they noticed a bay
with a beach,
with a beach
on which
on which
they planned,
they planned,
if possible,
if possible,
to run the ship ashore.
to run the ship ashore.
So they cast off the anchors
So they cast off the anchors
and left them
and left them
in the sea.
in the sea.
At the same time,
At the same time,
loosening the ropes
loosening the rope
that tied the rudders,
that tied the rudders,
then hosting
then hosting
the foresail
the foresail
to the wind,
to the wind.
they made for the beach,
They made for the beach,
but striking a reef.
but striking a reef.
Then ran the vessel aground.
Vessel aground.
The bow stuck
The bow stuck
and remained
and remained
immovable,
immovable,
and the stern was being
and the stern was being
broken up
broken up
by the surf.
by the surf.
The soldiers' plan was
The soldiers' plan was
to kill the prisoners,
to kill the prisoners,
lest any should swim
lest any should swim
away and escape.
away and escape.
But the centurion,
But the centurion,
wishing to save Paul,
wishing to save Paul,
kept them from carrying out
from carrying out
their plan.
their plan.
He ordered those
He ordered those
who could swim
who could swim
to jump overboard first
to jump overboard first
and make for the land,
and make for the land,
and the rest on
and the rest on
planks
planks
or on pieces of the ship.
or on pieces of the ship.
And so it was that
And so it was that
all were brought safely to land.
all were brought safely to land.